Don't share your problems with everyone. 80% don't care, and the other 20% are just glad you have them. Instead of searching for the good in people, focus on finding good people. Do what's right for you. No one else is walking in your shoes. The more grateful you are, the more you attract things to be thankful for. Never let a bad day convince you that you have a bad life. Every second spent comparing your life to someone else's is a second wasted. You can lie down for people to walk on you, and they'll still complain that you're not flat enough. Remember this: no amount of guilt can change the past, and no amount of anxiety can change the future. Every person in your life is a teacher. Some bring lessons about love and support, while others teach you what to avoid. You see a person's true colors when you're no longer beneficial to their life. Don't get married just because you think you have to. Time is precious. Tell the people you love that you love them, and say it often. If you've never questioned whether you made the right decision, you haven't taken big enough risks. Not everyone is as down for you as they claim. Never trust what someone says. Watch what they do. You can't love someone enough to make them love you back. Be careful with your words. Once they're said, they can only be forgiven, not forgotten. Don't let someone who wronged you make you feel like there's something wrong with you. Don't devalue yourself because they didn't value you. Know your worth, even if they don't. If you're willing to sacrifice what you want most for what you want now, your future will be filled with disappointment. Being single with peace of mind is far better than being in a relationship that makes you miserable. Sometimes, you just have to say no and ignore the guilt trip that follows. Often, the right thing and the hardest thing are the same. What you do today can improve all your tomorrows. Sometimes your situation will keep repeating itself until you learn your lesson. You won't be punished for your anger. You'll be punished by it. It doesn't matter if you're right. Sometimes the people you hang around shape your life in ways you don't even realize. Sometimes there's no right decision to make. In those cases, make a decision and then work to make it right. The greatest mistake you can make in life is to continually fear making one. Learn to be content and happy by yourself. If you need company to be happy, it will only make you weak. You're not responsible for what others expect from you. Not every thought needs to be expressed. There are things in life we don't want to happen but have to accept. Things we don't want to know but have to learn. And people we can't live without but have to let go. No matter who tries to teach you lessons about life, you won't understand until you go through it yourself. You can start your life over any time you want. You can begin being the person you truly want to be right now. The people who ask the most from you are often the ones who do the least for you. Never sacrifice these three things: your family, your heart, or your dignity. Always look at where you're going, not where you've been. Sometimes it's not the people who change, it's the masks that fall off. Show respect even to those who don't deserve it, not as a reflection of their character, but as a reflection of yours. When you find no solution to a problem, it's probably not a problem to be solved, but rather a truth to be accepted. Nothing ever goes away until it teaches us what we need to know. Don't make permanent decisions based on temporary emotions. Sometimes it's best to cut people off, no matter how hard it is. Some people just aren't worth the effort to understand. To understand a person's character, don't just look at their actions. Observe their reactions. It's harder to fake a reaction. The way people treat you is a reflection of their character, not yours. Mistakes are proof that you're trying. Love alone isn't enough to create a happy, lasting relationship. Being open and unafraid to communicate is vastly important, even if it's a difficult conversation. Everything in life teaches you a lesson. You just have to be willing to learn. The measure of a person is how they bear up under misfortune. If you put someone on a pedestal, they'll have no choice but to look down on you. Each pain makes you stronger, each betrayal makes you wiser, and and every disappointment makes you more skillful. When you get married, everything good and bad about your relationship intensifies. You teach people how to treat you. Things rarely change for the better in your life unless you change them. Hard conversations are often blessings in disguise. Let go and let life strengthen you, no matter how much it hurts. Hold your head up and keep going. Sometimes it's a blessing not to get what you want. The more you like yourself, the less you'll need others. Just because you're good at keeping other people's secrets doesn't mean they'll do the same for you. A change of self is often needed more than a change of scene. It's possible to commit no mistakes and still lose. That's not a weakness, that's life. Inner peace begins the moment you choose not to allow another person or event to control your emotions. He who angers you conquers you. There can be no progress or achievement without sacrifice, and a person's worldly success will be measured by their sacrifices. We advance in life when we let go of fear. A person who wants something will find a way. A person who doesn't will find an excuse. Some people won't like you, no matter how hard you try to win their favor. You have to take chances sometimes, and although it can be scary and outside your comfort zone, you'll never know what could have been unless you go for it. People give you advice based on their perspective. The greater danger lies not in aiming too high and falling short, but in aiming too low and achieving your mark. Be a reflection of what you'd like to receive. If you want love, give love. If you want truth, be truthful. If you want respect, give respect. What you give out will always return. Never speak from a place of hate, jealousy, anger, or insecurity. Evaluate your words before you let them leave your lips. You only get one body. Take care of it. You'll have it all your life. And while it's incredibly resilient, it can only give you what you put in. If someone emphasizes that they're telling the truth, you can be sure they're lying. Don't base your self-worth on the opinions of others. If you don't like something about your life, change it. It's not going to change for you. When writing the story of your life, don't let anyone else hold the pen. Don't do anything you'll have to lie about later. Making others look bad doesn't make you look better. Prioritizing yourself is not selfish. Light travels faster than sound. That's why some people appear bright until you hear them speak. Sometimes you just need to relax and have faith that things will work out. Let go a little and just let life happen. Life is inherently risky. The only big risk you should avoid at all costs is the risk of doing nothing. You're the only person who has to be with yourself 100% of the time. So start liking yourself and who you are. Overthinking ruins you. It twists situations, makes you worry about futile questions, and makes everything worse than it actually is. Don't worry about what people say behind your back. They're often too busy finding faults in your life instead of fixing their own. Sometimes painful things can teach us lessons we didn't think we needed to know. Be happy on your own. Don't seek someone else to validate your existence. Act like you've been there before. Welcome change as a rule, but not as your ruler. Just because things could have been different doesn't mean they'd be better. Life doesn't get easier or more forgiving. We get stronger and more resilient. It's not the mistakes that define one's character, but how one responds to those mistakes. People will disappoint you, so never put all your trust in anyone. Hard work doesn't always guarantee success, but laziness almost certainly guarantees failure. You'll never be truly happy if you constantly seek validation from others. Anything you start to take a relaxed attitude towards stops controlling you. The pursuit of perfection is futile. Aim for progress instead. Your self-worth is non-negotiable. Never settle for anything or anyone that diminishes it. Be careful what you tolerate. You're teaching people how to treat you. You'll never be 100% sure about a decision, but always make one. It's better to go back and fix it than to never make a decision at all. Learn to say no without feeling guilty. It protects your time and priorities. Chasing happiness will lead you to misery until you realize that happiness is the way. Maybe you're not healing because you're trying to be who you were before. That person doesn't exist anymore. There's a new you trying to be born. Breathe life into that person. There will always be someone who can't see your worth. Don't let it be you. You learn nothing from life if you think you're right all the time. No one owes you anything. You have to work for what you want in life. There are things we don't want to happen but have to accept, things we don't want to know but have to learn, and people we can't live without but have to let go. What you want requires consistency and discipline. Your entire life can change in an instant, so instead of passively taking what you have for granted, be grateful for it and do whatever good you can with it. The worst kinds of enemies are those who pretend to be your friends. The actions of men are the best interpreters of their thoughts. Never decide what you can or cannot do based on your lowest points in life. Only put off until tomorrow what you're willing to die having left undone. The harder your life becomes, the faster you'll reach your goals. Excuses won't fix your problems. Take responsibility for your actions. Accept that you will make mistakes and learn from them instead of dwelling on them. Befriend those who expand your thinking, not just your circle. Avoid making decisions when you're angry and avoid making promises when you're happy. You'll never understand the damage you did to someone until the same thing is done to you. Be careful who you let into your life. Some people will drain the life out of you and then blame everything on you. Maturity is when you have the power to destroy someone who wronged you, but you just breathe, walk away, and let life take care of them. You're the only person you can control. Be humble enough to know you can lose everything, but confident enough to know you can get it all back. Remember that every time you try, you're making progress. Spend so much time on self-improvement that you have no time to criticize others. Smart people stop overthinking once they understand that the best decisions require more gut feeling than pure intellect. It all begins and ends in your mind. What you give power to has power over you. Work on mastering your mind. Excuses are always there and easy to make. Finding a way takes courage. Be smart enough to realize that life doesn't wait for you to be okay. Don't allow someone to treat you poorly just because you love them. Every time you lie, you create problems you'll have to deal with later. Do the right thing now. One who believes in themselves has no need to convince others. Learn to miss someone without wanting them back. If life wasn't hard, you would never grow. Sometimes you just have to accept that some people can only be in your heart, not in your life. The only way to feel better about yourself is to do things worth feeling good about. Sacrificing long-term joy for short-term pleasure is the easiest recipe for regret. Don't be scared to set boundaries in your relationships. If they walk away, it means you're better off without them. Life becomes easier when you learn to accept the apology you never got. The first step toward getting somewhere is to decide you're not going to stay where you are. Slow success builds character. Fast success builds ego. If you don't separate yourself from your distractions, they will separate you from your goals. By doing what everyone else does, you guarantee average results. Don't lose yourself by tolerating too much from the people you want to keep. Focus your attention on creating the life you want, instead of distracting yourself from your current life. When your motives are sincere, it's not you who loses anyone, it's others who lose you. When you know yourself, you stop fearing missing out on things that aren't meant for you. The easiest way to destroy your self-confidence is to constantly break the promises you make to yourself. Stop cheating on your future with your past. You grow as much as the amount of truth you're willing to accept about yourself without running away. All failures are temporary when you keep trying. When you blame someone else for your problems, you give them power over you. You allow them to define and dictate your happiness and well-being. Trusting blindly often leads to betrayal. The only person who needs to understand is you. Life gets better once you stop assuming you'll always have more time later. Be proactive. Each day should be a step forward. The first to apologize is the bravest. The first to forgive is the strongest. And the first to forget is the happiest. No single thing will solve all your problems. No goal, no achievement, no relationship. No one will ever fix you. Show respect even to those who don't deserve it. Not as a reflection of their character, but as a reflection of yours. Whatever you do, remember that winning isn't everything, but you always win if you're satisfied that you put in your best performance. Set your own standards. Find your why. Your why is the foundation of your goals and provides meaning to your actions. It's the deep personal reason that drives your ambitions. Taking responsibility for all your problems alleviates more suffering than it creates. Be who you are and say what you feel, because those who mind don't matter, and those who matter don't mind. When you talk, you only repeat what you already know. If you listen, you may learn something. Never date a person you wouldn't also be friends with. The more hard lessons you can learn vicariously, rather than through your own experience, the better. Healing also means taking an honest look at the role you play in your own suffering. Challenge yourself. It's the only path to growth. Ignoring red flags because you want to see the good in people will cost you later. Peace doesn't mean being in a place where there's no noise, trouble, or hard work. It means being in the midst of those things and still being calm in your heart. Avoid people who use their pain as an excuse to hurt you. Don't let people know too much about you. Most don't care, and some secretly want you to fail. When you react, you lose power. Perfectionism is a disease. Procrastination is a disease. Action is the cure. Go where you are appreciated, not just tolerated. Fix your body before you fix anything else. Having a weak body reflects a broken mind, a lack of willpower, and poor life choices. Some disconnections will bless your life. True success doesn't depend on seeking validation from others. It stems from seizing opportunities, proving what you're capable of, and accomplishing your goals despite challenges. When you find someone smarter than you, work with them. Don't get intimidated. Never expect to get what you give. Not everyone has a heart like you. Your mental state determines your experience of life. Prioritize your mental health like you would your physical health. Exercise your mind with new challenges and positive self-talk. Life is difficult because we don't appreciate the things that come easily. Don't let loneliness drive you to make temporary decisions with long-term consequences. Once you're on the right path in life, you stop getting offended and angry all the time because you have so much better to do with your time. Your growth depends on your willingness to keep learning, even when it's boring. Keep your personal life private. Not telling everyone everything, even when you have a lot to say, is top-tier self-care. Find a relationship where being yourself makes the other person happy. One of the most dangerous things you can do is compare your life to someone else's. It's not a race, it's your journey. Don't give up after the first failure. Failure is not the end, it's just a detour on the road to success. Just because you can't see the point behind a challenging time doesn't mean there isn't one. When you believe, your mind finds a way to do. Embrace the long game. Patience is the ultimate competitive advantage in the game of life. Your future needs you, your past doesn't. Being true to yourself may lead to loneliness, but it's worth it. You will be pulled down by jealousy. Don't be surprised, it's normal. It's scary when things change, but it's even scarier when they don't. The truth is, everyone is going to hurt you. You just have to find the ones worth suffering for. On a day when you don't come across any problems, you can be sure you're traveling the wrong path. The magic you're looking for is in the work you're avoiding. You must discipline yourself carefully. Keep the promises you make to yourself and reward yourself so you can trust and motivate yourself. Our lives are defined by opportunities, even the ones we miss. When you build in silence, no one knows where to attack. Pain only leaves you when it teaches you something. Some lessons have to be learned twice. Being cool, calm, and collected in a stressful situation is extremely important. This doesn't mean you need to suppress your emotions, just don't let them get the better of you. The more you cling to the past, the less likely your future will be any brighter. The only failure is not trying. The only rejection is not asking. The only mistake is not risking anything. If you can't say no, then your yes means nothing. People want you to succeed, but often no more than they want to succeed for themselves. Stop overestimating others and underestimating yourself. You give power to someone you blame for your problems. Life has a way of working out, even when it seems impossible. You should never sacrifice what you could be for what you are. You don't have to prove anything to anyone, including yourself. Luck comes to those who work hard. Good things do not come to those who wait. Don't make one person the center of all your happiness. Don't make them the reason you're happy. Because once that person walks away, you're left with nothing. When you feel like giving up, remember why you held on for so long in the first place. Never put relationships before your goals. You may lose them both. You can fall in love more than once. You don't need to worry much when someone you love leaves you. Most of the time, it's for the good. You'll have to make very practical decisions about what you want from life and what you're willing to give up. If you don't make them, life will make them for you. Changes happen when we go against everything we're used to doing. Failure shows us the way by showing us what isn't the way. It's normal to feel bad after making the right decision. No matter how nice and friendly you are, some people will dislike you no matter what you do. Don't waste your time on them. Later often means never. Bad times are actually a boon because they wake you up to the good things you never paid attention to. Never try to gain someone's sympathy. The people who care about you will be there when you need them. You don't need to show them that you're their best friend. You can't make someone love you by giving them more of what they already don't appreciate. Most of the time, you have to swallow the pain and learn to grow up by yourself.